One thing I really like from the Scarlet and Violet era is the illustration rares and the special illustration rares. I think the artwork in Scarlet and Violet is absolutely fantastic. But right now, the illustration rares are going crazy. Now, if you thought that the special illustration rares like the Greninja is doing very well, well, today we'll take a look at some illustration rares that are popping off. They really are just popping off in the Scarlet and Violet era. This is quite interesting because a lot of people kind of just pushed a lot of the Scarlet and Violet era to one side. Look, you can't deny the power of amazing artwork, and we're going to be seeing that today. We're going to be looking at all of the different Scarlet and Violet era sets at the biggest boomers when it comes to illustration rares. Is now a great time to pick up some of these cards. I think some of these are really good. Some of them you will see that have boomed and then have started to cool off a bit. But we're going to be looking at all of them. We're not going to be looking at the Magikarp because we know how well the Magikarp's been doing. But we're going to be looking at some of the others. Let's get into it. The first one we're going to talk about today is the Eevee from Twilight Masquerade. Of course, the Greninja's doing incredibly well in Twilight Masquerade. Now, I predicted this card would be one of the top 3 cards in the set. That's what my prediction was. And to be honest, it's looking like it's going that way. We're looking at $71 at the moment for this Eevee. Look, right? We've seen the power of the Magikarp from Palais Evolved do incredibly well. Not only have we got another Gen 1 Pokemon, but we got a bigger fan favorite in an Eevee. I think there's more people out there that just want to collect Eevees or collect Eevees than a Magikarp. And, you know, with the tough pull rates of Twilight Masquerade, it just makes this card even more desirable and just really push the price up as we go, right? So as you can see here, over the past 3 months, this card has been, you know, not really doing much, right? It's just kind of just dawdling along that $40 to $45 range. And I was like, you know what, it kept dropping. I was like, it's looking like this might not be a top 3 card. Maybe I probably got this one wrong. Now, right now, it's not currently the top 3, the third most expensive, I don't believe, but it's real close. Like, I mean, maybe number 4. This set is just, it's with Twilight Masquerade, this set is surprising me on every single angle, right? And I do think pull rates are probably the main reason for it. So $71, we go back over the past month basically of what we can see. So yeah, it just dawdled along, and literally over the past few days it is shot absolutely crazy. One to look out for. I will be doing a video soon talking about Twilight Masquerade, mainly because I do genuinely believe that even though there's not that many cards that I personally like in the set, this set will be one of the best sets to invest in the Scarlet and Violet era. Watch this space. Next up, we got the Ghastly from Temporal Forces. This one's done really well. Like, this one again from Temporal has had a really interesting one, kind of going up and down all over the show. Temporal Forces, in my opinion, has some of the nicest looking SIRs and illustration rares, and on top of that, there's a lot of them, right? You do get quite a lot in the set. So yeah, this Ghastly is a pretty good one at $27. It has been dropping, but overall it's up, which is pretty interesting. Now, there have been a lot of cards in Temporal Forces that have had pretty crazy price spikes, which we have seen as well. We saw it with the Raging Bolt, we saw it with the Iron Crown, and now, you know, the Ghastly as well. We saw it actually go even higher than what it is at the moment. So at the moment it is $26. It did reach a high of like $34, $35, which for a normal illustration rate is very, very impressive. That is very impressive. And as you can see that over the past 3 months, it kind of just like, it was slowly climbing and then it had this real big spike, and it's just cooling off a little bit here, which is actually quite interesting. So as we can see over the past month, it did actually spike to its all-time high, and it started to come back down to a more reasonable level. It's still up a significant amount from the lows of $16, even at $26. So again, this one's doing very well. Beautiful card. Like, is this going to be the closest we're going to get to Gengar illustration / special illustration rare? Maybe. We've got another illustration rare from Temporal, and it's the Metagross. Never really talked about this card. Now, I've always liked Metagross as like a pseudo legendary Pokemon in the games, and I do like this artwork. It is quite nice. It is a $10 card. We're not breaking the bank on this one, but this one has been going up a fair amount. I mean, it was what, $4 and it's now $10. It's more than doubled in value over the past 3 months. This is really nice, and this goes to show like a lot of cards which, you know, you may not have seen have much value start to gain value. And again, you know, we're looking from a set which just have a ton of amazing artwork, and it really does help. So yeah, beautiful looking cards, more than doubled in price, not breaking the bank at $10, but has had some decent growth. Keeping with Temporal Forces, because this set just keeps delivering. Source Buck, beautiful colors. This is such a beautiful color, you know, illustration rare. Really, really nice. Again, we're looking at $8 here. Again, we're looking at another card that's gone from around about $5 to $8. I know it doesn't sound crazy. We're not talking about, you know, 10x in your money, but we're talking about cards that have gone up, you know, 50% or more in value over the past 3 months. And that's very good going. Like, we want to see that, especially in a set where, you know, people are still cracking packs. It's really easy to get hold of. And, you know, these cards are actually going up in value, which is very, very nice to see. And yeah, the colors on this one, really insane. Right, on to my boy Groudon. This one from Paradox Rift has been an interesting one, right? This one did spike very high in value, and it became the most expensive card in the set, overtaking the Roaring Moon. And a lot of people were like, this is going to be like the Magikarp 2.0. Like, this is going to be the one that's going to, you know, absolutely skyrocket in price. And it looked that way. It really did. But then the prices have started to drop. So let's look at this. $47 or $48 right now. And as you can see, it over the past 3 months, it went from 26 up to a high as like $64, $63, $64. That's really impressive, right? But then it's dropped like nearly $20 in value over the past like month. So, you know, is it cooling off? Yeah, I would say so. We go back over the past 6 months, we can really see the growth of the Groudon. But then look at that, it's quite a steep drop in all honesty. So this is definitely one that's a little bit more cautious. I mean, like for instance, over here in the UK, this is selling. I've seen people sell it for like £60. Is it worth £60? Probably not, right? So you got to be careful when pricing and jumping on the bandwagon. A lot of these hyped prices that people see on TCG Player. But this is definitely one that has been falling. Then we're going to Steelix from Paradox Rift, another really nice illustration rare. This one's been picking up traction recently. Again, I don't know if it's a playable card or not, but the artwork is really cool. I do like it. $21. That's pretty good, right? Look, we've seen in the past 3 months, it went from $10 to $21. So it actually got up to $25. So it went like 250% in value in 3 months. Started to drop a little bit, but that's pretty crazy. I mean, over the past 6 months, it's just sat at like $10 to $12 for the longest time, and then just saw this absolute crazy spike. Again, similar to the Groudon, got to be careful when buying these cards when they reach their real top peak, because they could start to fall, especially in sets where you could still get hold of quite easy. So you got to be careful on those. But yeah, Steelix is doing really well. Cool artwork though. And then finishing off Paradox Rift, we've got Yveltal coming in at $17. Over the past 3 months, this card's gone from $6 to $17. That's crazy. Nearly 3 times its value in 3 months. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the art. I think I have pulled it before on the live stream, but it is doing very well, and I can't deny how well this card's doing over the past 6 months. Look, we just see it just dawdling along at like $5 to $6, and then bang, it just saw this insane price hike. Be cautious, of course. If you're looking to buy this card, you might start to see these high inflated prices. Of course, again, like the others from Paradox Rift, it's really easy to crack packs and get hold of at a reasonable price. Pull rates, of course, can be quite tough, but I do expect it to cool off similar to the Groudon. Right, then we're going to quickly look at 151, because there's a whole lot of illustration rares from 151 that hold good value, right? So we'll be taking a look at Charmander first. Now, in 151, I would say a lot of the money holds quite well within these illustration rares. It really does. And especially if you get like a demigod pack or whatever it is, then you're doing really well. Charmander, though, is the most expensive at $30. This card in price has held very well. But with the increased price of 151, it's interesting that a lot of the cards haven't been going up in price, right? Usually as a rule, when seal product starts to increase, we saw it with previous eras and previous sets, that the single card prices start pushing forward, you know, start going higher and higher. And we haven't really seen that in 151. I do think that's because a lot of people are expecting and anticipating a reprint to be coming, or at least more stock of 151 be hitting the shelves later on this year. So a lot of these prices we could see fall quite a bit. So you got to be careful, right? You got to be careful when it comes to 151. But even then, you look at cards like the Squirrel, you know, these are holding value. These aren't really doing much, right? Over the past 6 months, it's just stayed pretty steady. I mean, yeah, fair enough, the weird dip there, but even over the past year, these cards have just stayed the course, right? They're not really climbing that much. I mean, they're worth a decent amount of money, look, right? $26 is very good, but it just isn't really doing anything. Right, let's look at ones that are actually doing something, which is the Obsidian Flames Ninetales. This is actually one of my favorite cards in the set. In fact, I would say it is my favorite card in the set. I do like the Charizard, but I gotta take it. Ninetales is beautiful. We're looking at nearly $12. Not the most expensive card, but it has been going up. You know, over the past 3 months, it's gone from $5 to $12. There's more than doubled in value in 3 months, which is incredible. Now, if you look at the last 6 months, you can see the climb. If we go back since the set came out over a year, right? Crazy pre-order prices, and it's came out around $8, and it's just been falling month by month by month, and it's just seen this big spike. Really, really interesting. Beautiful card. Absolutely love it. You know, Ninetales are my favorite Pokemon. So yeah, very, very nice. Doing well. Obsidian Flames is a set that it's kind of weak, right? Charizard's the most expensive, most valuable big chase card at like $40, $45. Booster boxes, though, are actually doing relatively well, which is kind of strange. But yeah, the Ninetales is doing pretty well. And then we've got the Raichu from Paldea Evolved. We're not going to be talking about the Magikarp because we know how well the Magikarp's been doing, although it has been dropping a little bit in value. Raichu, though, is doing, again, very well. We're seeing a lot of these illustration rares from these sets doing absolutely crazy. I mean, $44 right now. And as you can see over the past 3 months, it's gone from, you know, sitting around that 21 to 22 and it's now gone up to 43. That's really impressive, right? We go back over the past 6 months and we can see the climb of this Raichu. We go back over the past year because that's been out a year. Look at it. Absolutely crazy growth. And that's really impressive. Like, really, really impressive. And it's a nice card. Yeah, I do rate it. He's just chilling there, living his best life. But Paldea Evolved is getting more expensive. You know, especially in the US. Over here in the UK, you can find booster boxes still for around 100, 105. But right now, it's definitely a set that's just performing very well. A lot of the cards are shifting up in value. The Iono's holding pretty well. The Magikarp's doing very well. And the Raichu's doing very well. We're going to be looking at some others from Paldea Evolved as well. Like, for instance, my boy Titar coming in. We're looking at $33 for this one. This one's cooling off a little bit, similar to the Groudon from Paradox Rift. You know, I kind of compare the two. They're quite similar. This one was picking up a bit of steam, really. It was doing reasonably well. Over the past 3 months, it went from $18 to as high as $44 and has now dropped down to $33. Still up from the $18, of course. We go back over the past year and you can see the rise really steeply with the Tyranitar, and then it started to, again, drop nearly as fast, you know. So it'd be interesting to see where this lies, you know, with Paldea Evolved. Will there be a reprint? I know that a lot of people were saying that, yeah, there could be and whatever. Yeah, they're right, there could be. Whether or not there's one coming, we just don't know. So it'd be interesting to keep an eye on cards like this and see whether or not it would go back up in the future. But still, one of my favorite cards in the set. I don't have it yet. I still need to get it, but it's my boy. Another card we got climbing is this Sprigatito. This one, again, from Paldea Evolved. Beautiful, stunning card. $14. Over the past 3 months, it went from $9 to $14. So nearly gone up by 50% in value. We go over the past year and literally is the highest it's ever been. So not always like the big top cards that everybody's talking about is going up in price. You got to look at some of these other ones as well, that this one's also picking up a bit of steam, which is very, very interesting. And that's good to see, you know, cards like this, because the artwork's just absolutely beautiful. I do have this one. I actually went on my way to buy this one probably when Paldea Evolved came out, just because it's just such a nice card. Another climber, we've got the Heracross as well from Paldea Evolved. We're going through a lot of these illustration menus that are just doing bits, right? But look at this one, $13, nearly $14. Over the past 3 months, this went from around $7 to $8, nearly doubled in value over the past 3 months. We go back over the past year, and you can see the growth of the Heracross. This is what I'm talking about. Like, again, no one really talks about cards like this, and it's interesting that they're just gaining so much in value, going up 50%. This one nearly doubled in value in 3 months. It's crazy. I know we're not talking about big, you know, flashy prices, but it doesn't need to be. Then we've got the Sudowoodo. Try and spot him in the artwork of this. Is always good fun. $11 at the moment, and again, over the past 3 months, it went from $6 to a high of $12 and dropped a little bit down to $11. So again, nearly doubled in value over the past 3 months. We go back over the past year, and it just tells the story again, similar to all the other illustration rares we just recently looked at. Again, another card that not many people talk about. Really cool, unique artwork. I do like it, and yeah, it's doing well. Paldea Evolved across the board is doing very well. In my opinion, between this and Twilight Masquerade is probably the two strongest sets so far. in the Scarlet and Violet area. Then we're going to base. We're going back to base. We got the Rolts coming in. $16. This is actually one of the most expensive cards in the set right now. Obviously, we saw the Miriam drop. We saw the Gardevoir drop. We saw all the big cards, the Miraidon, everything. We saw them all drop, like all the special illustration rares. And we're starting to see the normal illustration rares start to trickle up. And yeah, this is $16. Over the past 3 months, this went from $9, $10 to $16, went to a high of $17. Over the past year, it is the highest it's ever been. And this is what I'm saying. Scarlet and Violet base, people don't really care about it. But there's room to make gains from picking up cards from that set. It went so cheap because everybody was opening it. There was a ton of product around. It was super cheap to open. And the pull rates of the early Scarlet and Violet aren't that tough. Again, another one from Scarlet and Violet base. We've got the Riolu coming in at $10. Again, over the past 3 months, this card's gone from $5 to $10. Another card that's doubled in value from Scarlet and Violet base set. Beautiful card though. I do like it. It looks super adorable. And again, highest it's ever been over the past year. There are room to make gains, even in Scarlet and Violet base, from these illustration rares, and it's just crazy. It really is crazy. I know it sounds, like, oh well, $5 to $10, whoop-de-doo, but that's really good. So there you have it, guys. That's what's been going on with illustration rares. They've been doing very well. We didn't cover Palette and Fates today, mainly because there's only 3 of them, and they're all worth like less than 50 cents, like 50p. They're kind of pointless. They're pretty trash. So yeah, illustration rares are doing very well, even in Scarlet and Violet base set. But it goes to show the power of some of these sets, right? Palette Evolve doing well. Twilight Masquerade is continuing to surprise me. It really is. And pull rates clearly have a place and are really impacting Twilight Masquerade and the card values. Palette Evolved is doing very well, of course. But then you look at like Paradox Rift, you look at Temporal Forces. We've been seeing a lot of these cards that not many people will talk about, but they're like $5 to $6, and then they're like $10, $12, $15. Like, these cards are doubling and in some cases tripling in value over the past 3 months, which is really impressive. And I've always said, like, the strength of a set is how many cards are of a certain value and whether or not they're pushing up. And a lot of these cards, a lot of these illustration rares, not just the SIRs, just the normal illustration rares, are on their way up. They really are pushing quite well. And it's really nice to see because the artwork of some of these are absolutely fantastic. And it's nice to see some Pokemon that don't normally get much limelight, get limelight, right? Sudowoodo, doing really well. So it's really interesting. And I think we've got to keep an eye on Twilight Masquerade and some of these other illustration rares and see what happens when potential reprints come down the line. Because I do expect a lot of these cards to potentially drop in value. If no reprints come, they're going to keep going up and it's going to be fantastic. But that is it from me, guys, in today's video. If you made it this far and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button. Make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content. And if you want to watch more Pokemon content, make sure to click the video on the screen. That is it from me, guys, in today's video. As always, you guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.